Good morning. So yesterday I left off by leaving this door here in this spot so that I could sand it and do what I did to its twin. I puttied and gave it pretty much a final sanding. I also gave the edges an 1/8 inch round over, and I put these slots in at the end of the day for the hinges. So the only thing left to do for this door is make the molding that will hold the glass in place, and then I have to add the handle. After I make the handle, then I got to make the jamb and the threshold, and we'll be rocking and rolling. First, let me sand this guy up, round the edges over, and cut the slots in the back side of the door, or cut the hinge slots on the back side. An interesting thing I've noticed is that, sitting in this shop, it's slightly damp, and so these rails have expanded just a little bit, because I cut these off flush with this, but you can see there's just a slight lip. That's probably like a 32nd of an inch. So this one's probably the most dramatic. The others, it's probably closer to a 64th or something to that effect. But and this one just happens to be the worst one. But I don't care. I'm no joinery master, so I just want it to work. Anyways, thought I'd show you the up close view of what I'm doing here, and also show you that how this wood is expanded, because this didn't shrink. So, like for example, this one over here, you can see just a tiny. You can see it actually pretty well on the camera. It's really just a slightly in, which is fine by me. Still looks cool. Okay. So, don't look too close, but I think it'll look fine when it's all up and done. Trying to give you a little better view of these corners. And a little like that. There you go. And the stubble's getting a little long and the mask is itchy, so I'm gonna go shave this off and get a snack. When I come back, I'll sand this side, then flip it over and do 1/8 inch round over on everything and sand that side. So, making some progress. Alrighty then, so I just measured the diagonals and they're still the same as they were before. So we're looking good, and you know, I've sided these and they're still straight, so other than just swelling a little bit from the moisture in the air, they're exactly the same. And it's probably a good thing that they swelled up a little bit, you know, before I put the finish on them, because this is the environment they're going to be in. And that way, if you put the stain on too soon, as that moisture eventually gets into the wood, it'll stretch and crack your finish. So hopefully this way it's expanded to where it wants to be, and now when I seal it, it'll last longer. I think I'm just going to start on the jamb now. That way I don't accidentally short myself, or you know, I don't want to cut one of my long pieces now just to make a handle or a couple of handles. I'm going to set these to the side and then pull out my pieces of wood and start figuring out how this jamb is going to go together, because it's going to require widening the two side pieces, because I bought 5.5 inch material rather than, you know, I bought 1x6 rather than 1x8. But after getting the 1x8 and seeing how warped it is, and all the 1x6 has been beautiful, maybe I did the right thing after all, unknowingly. But yeah, let me get these out of the way, pull that wood out, take a look at it, and figure out what I'm going to do. Alright, I've been looking at everything. Yeah, so the plan is, I went and measured my threshold, or the jamb width. I went and measured the jamb width. And I think I'm going to go with 6 7/8 inches. So right now these are 5.5, but I also need 1x2 to wrap the jamb. That's what the hinges are going to get attached to. So if I just rip a 1x2 off of each one of these, so that a pair will make one side. So I'll have one side and then the other. And after I've ripped the 1x2 off of each one, then they'll each be 4 inches, around 4 inches in width. And then I'll get out my router table and I'll put in I got a tongue and groove bit. And so I'll try to put a tongue and groove, or a tongue on one side and a groove on the other, and then I'll have basically 8-inch wide boards. And then I'll rip them down to size once I get them all together. So, and then I'll cut the threshold out, and then the other piece will be the top part of the jamb. So then I'll have all the jamb. And the 1x2s I rip off of there should be plenty to do everything I need as well. So I've got plenty of material. Now I just got to turn it into a door. Okay, so I was gonna rip those boards down, rip the 1x2s and start on those, but I've got my drill press where my table saw should be. So I figured while it's set up, I might as well work on these handles on these doors. So I just got to put in, I got a 1-inch Forstner bit here, and we'll see if the little drill press can do it. As long as it goes slow, it seems to be able to handle it. So we'll see if I have to tweak it set up a little bit to be able to get the door in there and get these holes drilled. I'll try to get the doors drilled, and then I'll be able to break it down and move it. So I don't know, maybe before I move it I'll drill these holes too, since it's set up. But first I'm going to get a little snack, and then I'll come back and keep making progress. Well, this bit almost did a great job. It was just chewing through everything like a champ, and then I overheated it, I think. And it just did not want to do that last little bit. So I'll get it, so it poked a hole through, but it just did not want to go through that last little bit. I don't know why. I think just, just doled out. Still really too hot to hold. Ooh, it's hot. But I think I can sharpen this. Maybe. I got a little file. I'll try to file it once it cools down, because I need this bit to drill the holes in my handles, so hopefully I can get this working again. Okay, so I just gotta center this and drill the holes, and I forgot to glue it, but luckily I can glue around the dowel and then drop it down in. Well, all the batteries on everything died, so I'm down to the phone. But there's my handle. So I just got to trim these off and then sand them up. And it's been a long day, so I think that's all I'm going to do today. Hopefully this phone's audio is okay. And tomorrow I'll pick up where I left off with these doors, and I'll get this drill press out of here, and I'll get this table saw back in there so I can rip that material down to the sizes I need. And I don't see why I shouldn't be able to be sealing all this stuff tomorrow. Well, I did a little more and got her stood up and sanded. And it's pretty close. You can see it's about an 1/8 inch wider here, so I'll either pick one or, I'll probably pick one and just take an 1/8 off down to nothing. I'll pick whichever one's fatter. Yeah, maybe this one. I don't know. I think that looks pretty snazzy. That one. And I had kind of picked out these two pieces because they both had these round circular swirl patterns. So I think that worked out pretty cool. You'll be able to push or pull. That's gonna be so cool.